welcome to a mostly solo playthrough of Death Road's All-Stars. Here we are racing along a track. It's a much longer track than this, I promise you, but it's a board game after all. We're racing along this track. It is just myself in this lovely vehicle and my opponent, who is rather aggressive, and we'll see if we can survive. We're adding to the difficulty by having a single drone with us as well, so these guys are not going to exactly work together, but they're going to be having a go at me as much as possible. There are only effectively two players, so we have one fewer lane on the racetrack. Now, the way we've got this set out, you will notice my hands change size. Look at that. There's a different camera on here just to fill this space and make this a little more clearly for you, and it's zoomed out a little bit on this side as well. So a quick overview of what you can see. Here we have some cards which allow us to choose random lanes. We only have 3 lanes, so we only have 3 lane cards. Whenever we need to randomize something, we use those cards. Here is the initiative track. Whoever is up front will gain the initiative. If anybody's at the same level, the initiative goes to whoever is in the highest gear. If there is still a draw, then the two people will stay in their relative positions as they were in the previous round. Here we have skid cards. Skid cards are bad things. They usually force us to do certain things. This one, move backwards. This one, 2 damage. This one, move to the right and down 1 gear. We will play a lot of those as time goes on. As I said, we have 3 lanes, 1, 2 and 3. On either side we have a dirt track. You may see some little arrows there pointing backwards. If we end our turn in one of these lanes, we will move back one. It's sand, it's difficult to drive on, so it kind of slows us down a little bit. The same for our opponents as well. If we are forced, because we're not going to do it intentionally, are we? If we are forced even further to either side, we will hit the barriers either side, and we will take 3 damage and 2 handling damage. We'll get into that in a minute. If someone races off the other end, like that, we don't lift the board up and move it along. What we do is everybody else moves backwards 1. Same if someone goes off the bottom of the board. Everybody else moves up 1 and so on. The difference with what they call far behind is whoever moves off the bottom will take 3 damage, which is not great. And here we have event cards. We have 5 event cards. There's a maximum of 5 rounds in the whole game. They will affect the game in some way. It may be a permanent effect, or it may be during the event phase, which happens at the end of the round. Here we have weather, which comes from one of the expansions, and this will produce some random effect as well. I will turn that over in a second. Over to this side, we have myself here. I am in this vehicle. I have 9 health and 10 handling. I actually kind of have more than 9 health because I've also got these 3 levels of shields, and they have to be eaten away, and then also my health bar reduced to 0 again, and that's when I get destroyed. Everything I do costs handling, and this will move down here. As long as I have enough handling, I can choose to take an action, until I get to the point where I am below 1, and then I have to pass. I can choose to pass at any other time. I don't lose any more handling. My driver is Simple Bob. There we go. Now he has 3 actions he can do. He can go up and down a gear and move left or right. And that will cost 2 handling. He can go forwards and backwards. That will cost forwards or backwards. It will cost 1 handling. And he can shoot out the front or side to side. That will cost 2 handling. There's also a little trash can icon there, which means in order to perform any of those actions, I have to discard a card as well as spend the handling. Now, he also has a static ability that when performing a skid with my handling below 1, which is down here, I can ignore one of these cards. That is very, very useful, because I found in the games that I lose, these cards are the main reason I lose them. So that's his own ability. And we also have a deck of cards. Deck of cards consists of two parts of the cards. There are cards that are dedicated to the vehicle, and there are cards which are weapons. Weapons at the front, weapons at the back, and weapons in the middle. I've chosen these rather than randomly. Everything up here is randomly generated, and I've actually chosen these. And they will give us different abilities. Sometimes it's a different ability depending on which gear we're in. Sometimes it's a weapon ability that has a specific range and a specific direction. So those are the cards in our hand. We also have a signature weapon which relates to our vehicle, and we don't get this until our yellow or orange, amber, we should say, right? Green, amber and red. Our amber shields have disappeared. So once we lose the amber shields, we'll be able to have access to this weapon, which is reasonably powerful. It can do some unpleasant things. So now if we look at the two enemies that are on the board, first of all, we have the drone. The drone doesn't have a great deal of health, and he has one level of shield. But he also doesn't have a great deal of handling. Now, handling only costs him one handling for every single action that he does. So we ignore the handling cost of everything else. He only has a single weapon. So as long as we stay close to him or very far away, we should be good. And he could, if we destroy him, he could eventually come back on to the board with certain enemy cards that say to spawn a drone. Our main enemy, however, he is the brutal type. And when I say brutal type, it means I'm not going to have a good time. Okay, his gearing is fixed on 3. The drones are fixed on 1. He has 2 weapons, randomly generated, one in the middle, one behind. He shoots directly behind himself and then shoots all the way around, but only does 1 damage to 1 square all the way around. And he has certain personality traits. So you'll see the icons in the upper left there. The first one says that he is aggressive, so he will do what he can to do damage to me. Another type of personality will try to run off in front of everybody and do damage by knocking everybody back far behind. The second icon means that he's quite happy to do damage to his friends, all right, which is a little bit of a benefit to me because it means it might do damage here. The third icon means that he is happy to knock his handling down below the skid and therefore get skids. He has a default action which he will do far too often. This one's particularly dangerous, I found. So he can move, first of all, he can move forwards, backwards, left or right, and then he will bash to the left, forwards, to the right and back. So anything in those spaces will get bashed and will take damage. His bash damage is here. It's the same on mine. Well, mine is different damage, but it's the same kind of thing. It's anywhere there's this icon. Whoever gets bashed gets 2 damage and loses 2 handling. So there's quite a nice thematic way of doing things with the handling, because obviously if someone runs into you, if someone does damage to you, you kind of lose control for a little bit. He also has a signature weapon or a signature move, and it's a weapon in this case, and he's going to shoot to the left or to the right. So not good for us to be kind of here or here. So way ahead or directly ahead or directly behind is good. I'm not sure we've got the weapons to be able to handle it. And his moves and choices have come from this particular deck. And we have a number of cards in this deck. There is a lower section which will be the default action he will try and take. If he's unable to take that action, he will take his default action. When we see this icon, it means he will take his signature action. And when we have the matching logo there to the car that he's in, which is the buck, okay, he will instead take this action up here. Now there's only one card that matches that. And one of the advantages with the drone is the drone could actually draw that particular card. So he's much less likely to use those special actions. The drone uses the same deck, so we draw a card for one for each based on the order of priority, and that is it. We're going to first draw our weather card. Let's see where we are. Electric Avenue. Right. This round, each bash attack has the additional effect of 1 damage. I don't particularly like that. Now, this may stay for the whole game. What we will do, we'll take this token here, which is generally used to mark a lane, and we will spin it, and if it's green, it will the weather will stay, and if it's red, the weather will change to the next one in the deck. First things first, we have our event for this round. And here we have draw a lane card face down. This round, players performing focus may look at the drawn lane card and reveal in the reveal event phase, flip the drawn lane card face up. The first vehicle on the lane that matches the card suffers 2 damage and 2 stun. Alright, so chances are we're not going to use the lane card. So here is the lane card. We're going to put this here, separate from the others, and just out of the way, and we will see how that works. So it says stun up here. There are different status tokens that we can be hit with. We have stun, burn, and veer. Stun will cost us 1 handling to get rid of. Burn costs us a discard of a card, and veer means we have to draw one of these babies. Now we can get a little overwhelmed with those. So first things first, let's draw our 5 cards for this round. 1, 2, 3, 3 weapons. Not entirely happy about that. A wide turn, which has us left or right, and an automatic gear. So automatic gear has one of those that has the gear numbers on the left hand side there. So it has a slightly different effect depending on which gear we're in. We start in gear 2, so we will be able to move forwards 1 or backwards 1 and then go up 2 gears. Now, being up 2 gears obviously gives us more powerful moves here, but also when we go beyond 1 handling, we see this symbol which matches this symbol, right? Which means we need to play as many cards here as we have gears. So if we're going full whack, we have 5 cards, and that's kind of that's very effective, because obviously if we're going that much faster and we lose control a little bit, we're going to potentially do more damage. So that is our hand. We'll leave that there for the moment because it's not us to go, it's our enemy to go first. And what I've found with the solo game is you can gain an advantage if you can get ahead in the initiative for the second round, or from rounds onwards, because them being ahead can really knock your handling down to the point where you become ineffective. All right, first card. So he is going to move forwards, backwards, or left or right. That's going to cost him, oh, that's me. It's going to cost him 2 handling, because that is 2 there. So where is he going to go? Now he's aggressive, so he's not necessarily going to want to go on. And he is potentially going to put himself in range to fire a weapon. There's a couple of things he could do. He could move across to here, and then if he gets the laser trail, he can go straight back. Or he can move to here, and that would mean he'd be able to shoot over this side and cover this whole area. Now that seems more flexible to me, so I think I'm just going to do that. He's going to move backwards and get a little bit closer to me. I'm not sure if that's an advantage to me. Looking at my weapons, well, potentially, I suppose. I could move to the side and then shoot him in the rear. And now we have our drone. He's the second on the initiative list, so he will fire his weapon. And unfortunately, it looks like we are in range of his weapon. So we look at this card here, surround sounds. He's going to blast us with music. Great. So you'll notice it doesn't target anything immediately adjacent to the drone. So everything around it, but 1 stage out, which is where we are, gets hit for 2 handling, 1 stun, and 1 skid. 1 veer, I should say. So we get 2 handling, 1 stun, and 1 veer. Now, that costs them 1 handling. They don't move anywhere. Okay, so it's now our turn. The first thing we have to do is get rid of these tokens. We can't do anything else with these cards until these tokens are gone. We could focus. And by focusing, we're just saying we're not going to take any kind of action. And if I focus, I can get rid of the stun, which is excellent. But next turn, I'll still have the veer, and I may have more of them as well. So I don't particularly want those. Sometimes the veer can work to your advantage. So for example, say I drew a veer card to move me 1 to the right. I'd go over here. I'd be in line to shoot him, which would be even better. So first of all, let's lose 1 handling to get rid of the stun. And let's draw a card to get rid of the veer, shall we? It is not what we wanted. We're going to go down 1 gear and we're going to move to the left, which takes us completely out of range. We could actually choose to do the firework. So I'm guessing that's what we're going to do. It's going to cost us quite a bit, but I think we can manage that. Our other weapons are no good. We've got a couple of weapons that shoot out the back, and those are no use to us. So those are good for discarding a card, which we'll need to do. So first of all, we are going to play. We got rid of the veer token. We're going to play automatic gear. We're in first gear, so that puts us up 2 gears. It gives us an advantage over where we started. And we move forward 1. Now we're in this lane, so we are going to move back at the end of our turn, but that's fine. We move forward 1. It costs us 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we can perform one of these tokens on our driver board. We can perform the action on one of our cards, or we can perform both. So we have to do one or the other or both. So here I can shoot, which I'm kind of inclined to do. So getting some damage is not a bad thing. So I can use the fireworks. It's going to cost me 2 handling, which isn't great. Now we're already all the way down here on handling. You see what I mean? It can very easily get to a point where, I didn't put this up, did I? Get to a point where we just have nothing to do. So it's good to get some power. And so he can go fire straight ahead, or to the left, or 2 to the left, or 2 to the right. Obviously, he is now within range. He will take 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. And that is it. Oh, we need to discard a card to pay for that as well. We will discard oil ignition. Chances are it is the end of our turn, so we will roll back 1, which may put us in better position, actually. Who knows? All right, so we are done. Loops back up to the main man. He is going to perform his signature move, and that is to shoot to the left or shoot to the right. Now, if we look at the map here, we can see it can go there, 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 or there, 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 or there. So he will hit us. We are within range. Oh, this one here, that is not good, to say the least, because of the damage it's going to do. And that's going to hurt us rather quite significantly. So that will take 1, 2, 3 handling, and it will do 2 damage. We can take the damage, that's fine. But it also pushes us 2 spaces to the left. Now we can't go anywhere to the left, so we smack into the railing. That stops us. We lose another 2 handling, and we take 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. That's us done for this round, okay? Because we do not have any more handling. And we could lose some more yet, because he may have something to do. So we're kind of a little impotent there, but let's see how it goes. Now, although we can lose handling and get more of these tokens, we can't spend handling. So now our drone, let's see what he's going to do. He's going to move. It costs us 1 handling. And it makes sense that he's going to try and move to be within range of us. He obviously can't go this way. That's not going to be effective because it will bump into the other car. That will stop him. Going forward, starts to push us out of range. He's going to come back, I think. Because now, if he did fire a weapon, well, we'd still be out of range, but he could at least move across and bring us into range. All right. So now it is our turn. We obviously can't do anything, but we do need to resolve our skid cards, which we will do right now. So we can ignore one skid card after revealing it. So I'm hoping that we can ignore a skid card that pushes us to the left, which will be nice. And I'm hoping we'll get a skid card that brings us out here because we're going to get pushed back. And I don't want to be too far behind. We still have to do that, so never mind. All right, so there's down one gear and pushes us to the right. I'm happy about that. Takes us out of there. That pulls us back. I don't want to be in this bottom lane. I'm going to ignore that one. And we take 2 damage. Okay, that's not too bad. That actually helps because we're not right to the back. We are now in range with this guy, which isn't good, and we're still in range with him. And he has another turn left. So we can't do anything else, so we'll remove our handling token and we move our vehicle off the initiative track to say that we have passed. So both of these guys can go again. All right. So our main man is going to do his signature move again. So he is going to attack, and I am within range. So he will hit us for 2 damage. 1, 2. That will get rid of our shield. Now on the back of each of these tokens, and they're all exactly the same, it has a little bonus advantage, which is too small for the camera to focus on. This one is up and down a gear. So we are going to go up a gear. Gives us a little bit more benefit. And he's going to push us to the left. So we go 1, 2, bump into there. We take another 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. We can't lose any more handling, which is excellent. That costs him 2. No, that doesn't cost him 2. What does it cost him? It costs him 3, which I like. All right. And our dude is going to fire his weapon, which he can't do because we are out of range. There's 1 away from him. We've been moved out of range. That's not too bad. We would have taken a lot more status tokens that way. So he is going to draw his default action. He's going to move backward and take 1 damage. Okay, it's a bit weird, that default action, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, I've passed. They haven't passed yet, so they're going to pass this time. So he will get 1 stun token because he was on there. We will get the number of. We will need to resolve the number of tokens or cards based on all of the icons to the left of our handling token and the one underneath it. The further we go, the worse it becomes. He is in 3rd gear, so he has to resolve 3 of these. 1. Oh, let's shuffle them first. We didn't shuffle them from last time. Let's make it fair. 1. He ignores gears because he's special. 2. Goes back again. 3. Takes 2 damage. That I do like. Now this stun token stays there until the next round. So he is passed, and this guy's going to do the same. He's just going to resolve 1 because he's in 1st gear all the time. And he is going to go over here. And I don't believe drones are affected by the rule to push them backwards, which is a shame, frankly. All right, so we can choose to discard cards. We can discard whatever we want. We obviously want to shoot forwards. I'm going to move wide turn out of the way. I don't think that's right for us at this point. Because all it does is give us the same, but a lesser ability to that and cost one more. So we're not going to worry about that. And we're going to draw up to fire. And what we didn't do was we didn't have any bashes, so this didn't come into play. We didn't have our proper resolve event phase. So we got the lane card. So whoever's in this lane is going to take 2 damage and 2 stun tokens. Lane 3, nobody. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. Well, I'm kind of glad, frankly. All right, let's look at initiative. This guy is still ahead, but I am ahead of the drones, so I'm going to get a little bit of initiative there. Initiative is really quite important in this game. We're going to reveal another event, which is hard right. In the resolve event phase, which is towards the end, at the same time, all vehicles perform an additional action depending on their gear. And that is everybody's going to move to the right, to the left. I'm sorry. It basically represents a sudden turn to the right, so everybody's kind of now drawn out to the left. Let's see if the weather event changes. It does. We have a red token. Let's see what we have. We have a super backwind. During your turn, before resolving status effects, perform a forward action to an empty space if there is no vehicle behind yours on the same lane. This movement does not trigger far ahead, so it doesn't trigger the effect when people are pushed off the front. Okay, so this is interesting. So this is the first thing that happens. Okay, during your turn, before resolving status, perform a front. Okay, so he is going to do that. Oh, we need to reset everybody's handling. He has 1 stun. He's going to lose 1 handling to get rid of his stun. And then he's going to draw what happens to be the last card. It's going to cost him 2 handling to move forwards, backwards, down, left or right. And if he moves back, he brings me into range of his weapons. You know, particularly his signature move. So he's going to move back. If he goes there, he's not going to be in range. He goes back, he's going to be in range. And it works, you know, even though I'm going to move forward as well because of the weather effect. So that's the first thing we need to do, is resolve me moving forward. I'd like to get out of this lane. That would be rather nice. So, so this is interesting. This card is interesting. Ram Jam. So if I can get next to him, now you'll see I'm in gear 3. So I will be able to move to the left or the right, and then any vehicle I bump into will be pushed to the right. So I could use handiwork here to move, and then possibly also come down a gear, because I'm a little bit concerned about these and too many of these coming into play. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so 2 handling for handiwork, which moves me there and brings me down a gear. Okay, and then 3 handling for ram jam, which slams me into him and moves him along. So the first thing we slam, he takes 1 damage, get the right vehicle, and 3 status tokens. Look at that. And then we can move him over to there. Now we're still within range of his weapons, which isn't great, but at least we don't move back, which would have still put us in range of his weapons, so that's good. The drone next. We've run out of enemy cards. All right, he can move up and down, left or right. So he's going to try and get us into range of his weapons. So that wouldn't put him. So I'm going to put him here. And it gets this guy in range of the weapons and gets me in range of the weapons too. This is immediate adjacent spaces are not attacked. The ones beyond those are attacked. That's all he's going to do. Okay, back to our main man. Oh, first of all, 1, 2, 3, loses 3 handling for the stuns. This means he's not going to do very much. This is the last thing he's going to do. He's going to fire a weapon. That's not great. No, it is, because we are not in range. Drone at sabotage is adjacent and laser trail is behind. He's not going to deliberately take out his friends, although he doesn't mind doing damage to his friend. He's okay doing damage to his friend if it's collateral. First of all, hold on. What we didn't do was perform these status effects, and he should be one up as well. Do the weather status effect. So do the weather status effect now. What would have happened with this one? He would have moved up to here first, and then we would have moved him across, which still puts us within range of his weapon. Now he is still in range, so it doesn't really help us. So he will perform his default action, which will cost him 2 handling. And he can move forwards, backwards, left or right, so he'll move closer to us. Then he will bash in each direction, which he can't, which isn't going to do anything to us, so that's fine, which is good, which is excellent. So something we're going to need to think about is this event, which is going to push us across. So we're going to be in 2nd gear, which is not going to push us across in 2nd gear. Excellent. So 3rd gear is going to push across. And it's only going to affect him. So he could potentially end up moving over here. First thing we have to do is perform a front as an empty space. That really isn't great, is it? So I'm inclined to do something a little different. We could move forward. And we could bash, go down 1. And then do we have a means of moving forward? I don't think... Oh, we do. Okay. We go down 1, get into 2. We could go up 2 gears. See, this is when the weather really doesn't work for us. Now, oddly enough, this is when I'd like Ram Jam. Now, we definitely need to get away from being on my opponent's left, because at the end of this round he's going to move and he's going to smack into us. We don't want to stay there, so we definitely need to move forwards or backwards. We only have 2 means of doing that, which is heavy throttle, which is going to cost us 3, or footwork, which is going to cost us 1. We don't have a weapon. We do have a weapon. We have diagonal shot that we can use. Excellent. I would have liked to maybe have done firework first and then footwork, but we can't do 2 actions from this board. We can do 1 from here and 1 from the cards, or both. Alright, so we have it. We need to discard a card, and I think it will be oil. Will it be oil flood? I think it'll be ploughing through, as it turns out, because oil flood gives us the option. We're going to be ahead. Oil flood gives us the option to shoot behind us. Cost 1 handling, and we move forward 1. It's rather nice. And then we'll perform a diagonal shot. The 2 handling, that's 5 damage diagonally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fantastic. There is a slight disadvantage here, because the disadvantage here is, of course, at the start of his turn, he is going to move up 1. He's going to be level with us. Kind of inclined to take away that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take away that diagonal shot. And actually move us even further forward. We're in the 3rd gear, could end up in 4th gear, which will bump us to the side. Oh, this is a tricky one, We were here, right? So instead of footwork pushing us forward, let's have footwork push us back here. And then we will play our diagonal shot, which still Has us hit him for 5. And 2 handling. And that means he's going to move into this space to start with and then go across here because of the event. And that saves us quite a bit. So first things first. That was us. Drone next. Weapons. And we are within range. That's not good. All right. So we get 2 stun tokens. Is my guy... He's in range as well. Ooh. Okay, so we lose 2 handling. He loses 2 handling. And he hasn't passed yet. And 2 stun tokens for each of us. Well, I guess it's not... I mean, there's no more actions for me, but okay. We can deal with that. Probably good idea that we didn't go up a gear. That way. All right. My main man here. So first thing he has to do is... he can choose to pass, right? And if he passes, he gets rid of these. They will get 1, 2, and a burn, so we'll get some more as a result. This is a special rule with those guys. And he has to resolve 3 skid. Oh, first of all, he moves forward. Weather! You know, I've played several times without the weather, so I keep forgetting to do the weather. Right, so 3. So he moves back 1. Oh. He moves to the right. And he moves back 1 and takes 1 damage. All right. Which may put him in a better position for us ongoing. But he does pass. Me next. So I can't do any more actions because I am below 1. I'm going to need to resolve 3 of these. 4 of these in total. So do that and it brings them back. So we have a distinct advantage here in that we are below 1 at the start of our turn and we have stun tokens. We can get rid of them for free. Which is great because what would happen is we would end up losing 2 and we would gain another 2 again because of the stuns. We have to resolve a veer. I'm hoping it is not... It's not move right. Hey, guess what? The weather, the wind is blowing us. There we go. So I was just about to say, I'm hoping it's not going to be something that moves us to the right and then he ends up bashing us at the end of the round. Okay. Well, we moved backwards. Okay. Move back to where we were. So this one is now gone. So now we need to resolve 3 more of these. But I get to ignore 1 of them. I'm going to ignore that one because we're going to move to the left anyway. I don't want to be in there and I will bash in. That one moves us there and down 1 gear. That helps. And that one moves us back. That couldn't be a better result out of 3 skid tokens. I'm very happy with that. Okay, it is the drone. So we have passed after that. There's nothing else we can do. And my tiny little friend, first of all, oh, here we go, a slight advantage. Let's look at the wind. He's behind, he's got to move forward and he's going to smack into there. He's going to do 1 damage on 1 handling. Can't lose handling because he's passed. So he's going to do 1 damage. Look at that. It all helps, you know, and he's going to do his signature move, which is draw 1 of these. It's going to move him over here. No, I got that wrong. It is not one of those. It is There's two elements to that, which is a signature move, which is back in the game, but that isn't relevant because he's not gone off the back here. So he's going to move left or right, then fire his weapon, and then do a skid. Left or right, forwards or backwards. Okay, so he can move backwards, and since his signature move ability is relevant to helping him not take any damage here, this is a good thing. So this puts him in range, puts us in range of his lovely surround sound weapon. So we get 2 stuns each. We're both in range of it. We can't take any hand because we passed, and we get a veer each. It's going to be fun for him. All right, and that has cost him the 1. So he will now pass, but he has to resolve a skid. Oh wait, he has to resolve that skid yet. So that skid, 2 damage. I like the sound of that. And then the skid from this one, so he will pass. He will move back 1. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so you're going to take 1 damage. So here it says, when that vehicle performs far behind, which is just about to, ignore the damage and place it on the row closest to the far ahead instead of far behind. It says ignore the damage, but it doesn't say ignore the process of him going off the back and us going forward. We then place him up there. Bit of an odd move, but there you go. That's his kind of static ability. And he has now passed as well. We're on to the end of the round and the resolve event phase. So we're going to do this in initiative order. So my main man is in gear 3. He's going to move 1 to the left. I'm in gear 2. I do not move. And this guy is in gear 1. He doesn't move either. I'm not entirely happy about this nonsense, but we'll see how it goes. Let's reset everybody's handling. Alright, that'll do us for this part of the playthrough. Join me again real soon, where we'll discover whether me forgetting to replace the shield on my primary enemy is going to make any difference to my survival whatsoever. Thank you so much for watching, and do please click that like button because it really helps. Look out for the second part of this playthrough of Death Road's All Stars real soon.